TW, slight mention of SA. YN's POV. Well, doesn't this look familiar? Angel mimics Lucifer in a high voice and chucked to himself. Charlie then assorted her gaze away from us and gave Angel a weird look. She was so confused. Do you guys know each other? Charlie asked with an excited but confused tone. I got scared when she said this, then I looked at Lucifer, wanting him to respond. He noticed and decided to speak. Yeah, well, yes, in fact we do, Charlie, Lucifer spoke with such ease. I tensed up and took a deep breath as he said this, causing my chest to puff up. He looked down on me for a moment, noticing, then looked back up, smiling as he spoke again. She used to work for me for a brief period of time, but she was too much of a klutz, so I had to let her go. Nothing personal, she was just bad at her job. He glanced at me after he said this, smirking. My heart felt a flutter, but I played it off by rolling my eyes. Oh, well, Charlie paused as she took this information in. If either of you have any negative feelings towards each other for what happened, I am more than happy to organize an activity for you. I couldn't believe it. Half of my worries were if Charlie found out I had been lying to her. Well, I guess withholding information isn't really lying, but she would surely think it was important information if she knew one of the people she has been living with for the past few months, has not only met her before, but was there for her birth, cared after her, and not to mention was hopelessly in love with her dad at one period in her life, while he was still married to her mom. I took Charlie's suggestion as an excuse to speak up. Thank you, Charlie. I know my time working for your father ended, well, abruptly, but I already put that past me. The people, or demons? Around us started to lose focus and banter amongst themselves, of course with Angel dust grabbing Husk's bow tie, obviously teasing him. But Charlie still concentrated on me and Lucifer, and was now walking towards us. When she made it to the bar, she leaned over, letting her arms carry some of her weight. She then spoke. So why didn't you tell me about this before, YN? I froze, then responded. Well, I was probably gonna tell you eventually, I just didn't think it was that important. Like Lucifer said, I only worked for him for a brief period of time. I was barely even situated in my job before he decided to fire me, which was pretty embarrassing. I honestly didn't think it was that relevant. On shit, now I was straight up lying to her face. All my progress of trying to become a better person just took a huge step backwards. Okay, she stood there thinking to herself. Ooh, that's something we can work on. How to be honest and true to other people, cause you never know if it'll mean something to them. Being open. She stuck her finger in the air as she exclaimed this, walking away from us and towards Vaggie, excited about her new idea. I looked over to Lucifer with my mouth wide open, completely dumbfounded at what just happened. Half of my worries got wiped away in a matter of seconds. He glanced over to me and smiled with his head not completely facing me. Lord, have I missed that classic smile. He leaned sideways on the bar before he spoke, slowly reaching with his free hand for a glass. Want anything? I could only assume he was talking about a drink. Let me get you some. Flashback, still YN's POV. Some water. I don't think you're doing well. Lucifer held his arm around me, slowly walking me back to the couch after my dramatic fall. He set me down and walked to his bar to pour me some water. Why wasn't he worried? We had just been caught almost kissing. At this point I was completely out of it. From a sitting position, I slowly fell to my side, extending my arm out and placing my head on it. I started to close my eyes when I noticed the room was spinning again. Lucifer's POV. After I poured YN some water, I turned from the bar and paused. She was asleep. Her beautiful face was squished by the arm she rested on. I slowly walked towards her, then took a seat by her head. I just sat there for a good minute, looking at her. The way her body curved in the awkward position she was in. The cute subtleties of her breath as she was clearly asleep. I got a bit flustered, then looked away, closing my eyes. What am I doing? I can't be thinking of her like this. She works for me, for crying out loud. I'm still with. I paused myself as I realized. Those trips that Lilith goes on so often, I just know she's hooking up with basically every guy she sees. I then heard a shaky, longer sigh coming from below me. I looked down. "Wyan?" I asked. I then realized she was still asleep. I smiled a bit. Holy fuck, that was adorable. I then got up from where I was sitting and walked in front of her. I squeezed my hands between the couch and her body before lifting her up, then carried her to the bed. Wyan's POV, still flashback, now morning. I opened my eyes to notice I wasn't at home, then realized, oh yeah, why would I be? Not after what happened yesterday morning. I was too tired to move my head, so I analyzed the roof and wall above me. I studied the intricate dark red apple-themed wallpaper and beautiful golden crown molding connecting to a dark, subtly amber-colored roof. Then I looked to my left and noticed a window, half covered with velvet red curtains, but they were open enough to see the grand courtyard behind them. I went over the events from yesterday in my head. God damn, could I be more of a fool? I knew exactly where I was. But where was he? No, but really, where the fuck was he? I was in his bed, but he wasn't there. I sat up quickly, looking to my right. I could see two white boots sticking out from the side of the couch. Was Lucifer being nice? He willingly slept on the couch, and let me, his servant, sleep in his own bed. This reminded me of the times I would overhear guests talking as they walked away from their meetings with Lucifer. Most of them would say something along the lines of, I didn't expect him to be so energetic, or he was actually sort of kind. I usually ignored these comments, thinking there was no way the devil, who I've only known as frightening, was actually nice. Lucifer's POV. I felt pain in my back. I opened my eyes, realizing the cause of this pain, the couch. I quickly sat up and stretched my back. I looked to my side and there she was, looking right at me. We sat there for a moment looking at each other, realizing we had never seen each other so messy. My hair was definitely all over the place and hers had an extra level of volume, with strands falling everywhere. From the pain of sleeping on the couch, I was suddenly overcome with comfort. I felt like I could look at her all day. She then smiled at me. I of course responded with my own. You let me sleep in your bed. She broke the silence. Yes, I did, Tilda. I got up from my previous position, revealing my gold robe and white shorts, of course with no shirt. I watched her eyes widen, her face was turning pink. She was just staring at my shirtless front. She didn't say anything, so I spoke up. I'd hate to break your concentration, but you've led me in a state of wonder. How so? She smiled. I in fact did make her lose her concentration, cause she looked away from my chest and focused on my face. Well, for beginners, the reason why you showed up to work drunk. I walked closer to her, then spoke again in a lower tone. You should be fired, you know that, right? I tried to speak as softly as possible. I was tired of seeing her scared of me. I guess it's only fair if I let you know. She said that in a seductive tone, but soon after started to tear up a little. I sat down next to her. Oh darling, you don't have to share if it hurts you too much. I slowly reached to her face, gently wiping away the tear that fell. She gasped at this. We were both blushing. No, you should know, I owe you an explanation. After all, you did take care of me last night. I turned my head, not letting her see how hot my face was. Though I could hear her sigh and take a deep breath, then she spoke. Yesterday morning I woke up to the sounds of drawers opening and objects falling. I was getting robbed. I looked back at her, realizing this was serious. I panicked and quickly grabbed my gun and wallet from my nightstand so I could get ready to run out my window, but before I could, I heard footsteps rushing to my door. She let out a shaky sigh and rubbed her eyes of any tears wanting to come out. I laid back in my bed, putting my gun under my pillow and pretending to sleep, cause that's all I had time to do. Oh Wyan, why you don't have to continue? She looked me in the eyes and replied, no, I want to. She then looked down and continued, I heard the door open. The footsteps stopped, then slowly made their way to me. I soon felt a hand on butt, then my thigh, and it started to go further in. I looked at her face, now noticing a slight grin. I then whipped my gun out from under my pillow and shot the fucker in his face. I smiled as she said the last part. Damn, I muttered, not meaning to say it out loud. At this moment I knew I found my match. Ha, yeah, but do you wanna know what the best part of my morning was? What? We looked each other in the eyes. Getting plastered in front of a liquor store and yelling at everyone walking by. Huh? I couldn't control the laugh that came out. It finally made sense why she was so drunk yesterday. Ryan's POV. I got a warm feeling in my heart when I heard him laugh. I could tell he was impressed with me. Yeah, after I shot the bastard I luckily remembered my wallet and jumped out my window. I hopped out of the bed and turned around to face him, once again noticing his exposed chest, then began to speak, not even trying to lift my gaze from his toned musculature. Sigh, today seems like a nice day to go for a swim. Lucifer stood up, we were now just about a foot apart, then he leaned in as if he was about to kiss me, then spoke in an incredibly low tone. That sounds like a wonderful idea, beautiful.